What are you working on this morning, mate?
So this morning, very fight-specific session. We only do it in fight camp, and it's the most grueling session. So logically, we do it at the end of the week when you're really tired. We're just going between really horrible positions, grappling positions, minute and a half. If you haven't escaped in that minute and a half, you just keep going until you are out. Minute and a half like that, minute and a half smashing pads. Back and forth, minute and a half grappling, minute and a half pads, minute and a half grappling, minute and a half pads. That's one round. And because I'm fortunate enough to be fighting for a title, I have to do that for 5 rounds. So it's going to be just a bit over half an hour of really horrible stuff. And then I'm done for the week and get to play some Resident Evil 4. Go. Oh, keep driving him down, control the legs.
I don't really view coaching and fighting as separate things. It's one and the same. I don't view like doing coaching as a distraction. It's the same thing. It's part like these are my teammates, they're helping me, I'm bringing them up and that kind of thing. Like George gets the same as the other people who are putting effort in the gym. So like, yeah, it's the same thing really. Like I view them as one of the same. It's all martial arts. Like I'm all in on mixed martial arts. So like when I can't fight, I'm coaching. That's what I'm doing. Posture, first half if you can. Can't be letting him get his positions on in front of you. Check your neck. Right. Posture straight.
I'm only within a few intervals, but you have to give everything you've got, you know what I mean? So it's tiring.
Try and push him as hard as you can.
Yeah, so like, might only have a minute on him, but in that minute I'm giving everything I can. Just try and make it hard as possible for him. Do what I can to help, you know what I mean?
Up George, you need to keep going. Lead this round. More pop in the hips. Pop him up, George. 5, one more. Explosive. Good.
How did that session go this morning?
Went alright. Seemed to take him a little bit of time to get warm, but I know the first position was particularly hard, so there was probably a bit of like an energy dump in that first position, which is kind of what you want. It's why I chose floor double leg. It's a bit somewhat like dynamic. So like the whole point of that is like you're alternating between the grappling and the pads, and it's like you're engaging the different energy systems, and it's just getting you like mentally able to be like, and it's getting you mentally able to just accept the tough fucking work that is getting out of bad spots. But I think we've got like the best, you know, like loads of different gyms have different versions of that. But I think our whole pausing the timer until you get out on your own is a big detail, which is like it forces you to be tough. There's no hiding from that. You can't just hide till the round's nearly over. And, I'll just hold it out and not get damaged and stuff, and then I'll be able to get stood up. Nah, you got to get out.
Forces you to work.
Yeah, like people are like, oh, you can't teach heart. That's a pile of shit. Anyone who says that's just anyone who says that is just not tough. Like you can teach heart. Heart it's a improvable stat, just like speed.
How do you teach it then?
That pretty much. That's one of the best ways to teach it. Not being too tough on people. I know that sounds a bit counterintuitive. Oh, you want to teach heart, but if you just fucking break someone down, like, oh, do 1,000,000 fucking burpees and run and shit, and then like make them have like negative associations with training and make them injured and make them not have energy for the stuff that counts, you're gonna actually make them weaker. Like, I love Darren Till, but like him going for all these runs and like that's where his toughness is. His toughness is doing running. It's not in escaping bad spots and wrestling, and then in the fights, like he's not as able to deal with that because he's spending all his toughness out on the road.
How you feeling now, mate?
Fucking knackered. End of the week's training. Fight specific sessions, a position and pads. We need a cool name for this, you know, when people call things Shark Tank and Spider and whatever, all these very American sounding names. We just call it position pads because there's positions and there's pads, but it sounds way worse than it is.
Harry was just saying as well about pausing the timer when you're not working on bottom, and he was saying how that's a way of teaching heart.
So yeah, it's like a minute and a half. You're in this grappling position. Say they call the position and you're on your back on your mount, escaping as many times as possible. It defeats the purpose if you just got up at the end of that minute and a half, because you think 20 seconds left, I'm just going to burn the clock and I'll be back up just doing a bit of pad work, you know, it'll run it down quicker. If you know that the time is gone and you've got to get up, it just adds extra frustration, extra work. You've just got to get up, or else it's going to be, instead of 30 minutes, it's going to drag on to like 50 minutes if you're not getting up.
Yeah.
You know, it's always scheduled for 30 minutes, like 3, 5, 6 minute rounds even, position pads. But it runs over. Sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot, you escape perfectly, but then there's 10 seconds left, so you just get put back in the position. But it's all extra work, it's all extra skill development.
This normally how you're feeling at this point in the fight?
Yeah, you hit a point. See, I'm quite a busybody. I like to do stuff. I like to, you know, make videos, get around, see, do this, do that, even out of training. And then it hits a point where you're deep into fight camp where you can sit there, arse on the sofa, stare, not even out the window, just stare at a blank wall, and it just feels so good because it's just rest. That was a very, very hard week. Next week, it's the last hard week of training. It's not going to be as hard volume-wise, and nothing's going to really go over the length of a fight in terms of round-wise. It's just like sharpening phase.
In terms of like your diet and your cutting weight throughout the camp, does it ever affect your training as you get closer to the fight?
I feel better when I get a little bit lighter. So when I eat whatever I want, I don't feel more energetic, I don't feel more fresh. When I drop down to this ideal weight, like a 78 kilos, this is when I'm at fastest, I'm going. I'm generally, because I'm at a good place with lightweight now, I can have these treats. Like last weekend I had a good amount of baklava and a parmesan escalope or whatever. It was just like a BTEC parmo on some pasta and some garlic bread, a few chips. I can have these refeeds. I'm absolutely buzzing now, and I'm feeling, even after a few days, amazing off these Protein Culture UK meals. Absolutely brilliant meal prep. A lot of meal preps like Boffy eggs in a box, but these are like restaurant quality stuff. Like I had the garlic herb, chicken, pesto, pasta. It was unreal. And I just feel like proper energized off it. Brilliant. I'm very glad they're on board. No, they've asked me about nutrition.
Yeah. Pete, your coach from Newcastle, do you break your opponent? Have you been breaking him down together, like watching tape together, or is that something you leave to him? Or
yeah, it's a combined effort. It's all the three people that I don't disagree with. I do whatever they say. The people behind me. Day one, Harry, my brother, and Abdul Mohammed. And then as well with Pete, on this current streak, I don't know how many fights into our pro career, we were like 2 fights into our pro careers, and then we started working with Pete, and he's just got such an eye, and it's such a brilliant mix of perspectives. Abdul is, former Cage Warriors champion 2004. They started Cage Warriors in 2002. He's forgot more than most people know. He's one of the most knowledgeable people in the sport. Pete Irving can say the same. And then Harry, he's annoying and he has a stupid forehead, but it's different with him because we almost don't have to say things at certain times. We just know what each other mean.
Yeah. No disrespect to anyone that you've trained with, but do you feel like there's a misconception that you've got to constantly be training with other world-class people in order to improve?
Yeah, so a lot of times people go iron sharpens iron, which, from what I've heard from metal mongers, isn't exactly true, but I have to double check that. And also, it's not just about having a knock.
Do you chat to many metal mongers?
You're walking up and down Linthorpe Road, you have a chat with a few. Andre the Blacksmith in Dark Souls, whatever. But yeah, there's a big misconception. You can almost get like a social loafing effect and all these fancy psychological terms. Basically, people think, I'm training with him, he's world level. If I'm just around him, I'm going to be world level. And I've seen people do that, go off to different fight camps around the world. But if you're not focused in, if you're not like, that was this session, what is the one thing from this session I need to improve? I'm going to visualize it, I'm going to get in a little bit extra time practicing it. What's the one thing I need to improve? If you're not doing that, what's the point? Some people just have a knock in the gym, have a little bit of brawl on the open mats, and then they don't pick up anything. Whereas like Demetrius Johnson, most successful title reign in UFC history, he didn't even go outside of his fight camp. The only other pro I think he'd said he'd bring in was Bibiano Fernandez, and he'd mainly trained with amateurs. That's not to say don't go out and seek other pros, it's great to get good looks. But it can be risky. Like last time I went to a big team, naming no names, last time I went to a big team to train, I got eye poked every single round. I haven't been eye poked in this gym in a very, 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 very long time. Very, very long time. But I went to that gym and I got eye poked all this time. Like, you've got a culture of eye pokes here. I could have got my career ended by any one of these. People say get out your comfort zone, get out your comfort zone. But if you're constantly in self-preservation mode, because people are nutting you, people are trying to throw as hard as they possibly can, people are eye poking you can't really develop as much because you can't play.
What do you think that's? I mean, you used eye pokes as an example, but do you think that's like lack of discipline in the gym that causes stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, lack of discipline, lack of teaching from like the basic. Like an eye poke example, you see a lot of MMA fighters shadow box like that, and we're just onto them. It's okay for a boxer, they've got gloves on, but we're just onto them. Don't shadow box like that. You'll end up poking people in the eye because they build that habit. And it's just different cultures of different things. But yeah, I think it's like big gym mentality. Sometimes you can end up like lost amongst them, racking up damage, having gym wars, and not actually getting to the crux of what you need to improve.
Yeah.
Like Roger Gracie, when he won the Worlds, he just had his own gym in London, I think it was. And I think he was the highest belt he was training with, the purple belt. He just knew how to train. He knew how to get the most out of everyone. A lot of black belts will roll, and because they've got good defense, they won't get mounted. That means the mount defense isn't as good. Whereas when Roger Gracie's rolling with these purple belts and blue belts, he's putting himself in the worst positions possible, getting training from those positions and getting training from other positions. Sometimes it's more being switched on with your training methods than just expecting to be around someone bringing you on.
I noticed you've been doing sparring rounds recently with James Power and Midas Fleminus. How did they go?
They're brilliant. I went to this big gym, naming no names, got eye poked, and it was just a stupid sparring culture. Midas and James Power were brilliant sparring partners. They're perfect level. I know Midas could have thrown harder during those rounds because I fought him and he busted me in the chops for like 15 minutes. I know he could have flung a lot harder, but he's so controlled, and we had a 5-5, just go working, and not like damaging each other, but we emptied the tank. It was brilliant technical rounds, loads of looks. Same with James Power. We emptied the tank, we worked 5-5s, but we didn't just turn our brains to mush. It was good, clever sparring. I like both those guys, and I want to train with both those guys more.
Yeah. What can people expect from your fight on April 15th?
So I always say I'm going to do some other stuff, and then the body shot's just there. But there's a few different angles. He likes that southpaw look, so it'll show a few different weapons. So, yeah, you know, people talking to me, the body shot guy, the body shot guy. I never see myself as a body shot guy. I just see them as, they just happen, because people make that opening. I just see myself as a mix, like when you go in Pro Evolution Soccer and you get that little chart of the stats. I like to develop it all around that little hexagon of skills. You know, maybe it's on FIFA, but FIFA is B-Tech compared to Pro Evolution Soccer 4.